over and over and over again. We're back again. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much for choosing this brand, choosing the brand Fiifi-Manfred. I'm committed, like I always say, to provide you the best in football analysis, post match, and then of course, everything that has to do with it. Today, there's a big one. Arsenal's press is so aggressive. So aggressive. Chelsea, on the other hand, have had some aggressive times at their press, sometimes not so aggressive. Arsenal, most of the times, 1v1, very aggressive, very high and aggressive. But will Moise Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez's ability to receive and turn on the ball, very important. What are the positional aspects where that will be optimal in maximizing the potentials and the ball receiving ability of Enzo Fernandez and Moise Caicedo? How is the game going to pan out? It's deep tactical forensic analysis here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Do not forget that I'm here for you, all the tactical analysis. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Do subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Yes, do it now. Turn on notification and then do choose all. My name is Fiifi-Manfred once again. Subscribe to the channel. I'm grateful to have you here. Let's get. So yeah, Chelsea matches up perfectly against Arsenal. Perfectly. And I'll tell you why. Especially if you look at the times where Zinchenko and then William Ben White consistently are inverting. When Thomas Partey was fit, he was the one that was inverting from right back. Now, with Thomas's absence, it means that Arsenal wanted to get someone else to invert. Ideally, it's not Benjamin White. So then they go straight to Zinchenko. Now, Arsenal are a fluid team in a rigid structure. And it's the reason why every tactical person can look at 1, 2, 3 of Arsenal's play and tell you they play like this, they play like that, they play like that. So essentially, they progress the ball with 3 at the back. Then they have an inverted fullback, essentially. Whoever starts on fullback will invert, right? Now, once they do this thing, they make sure that they use their wingers to keep the width. So Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli will keep the width. Then in central areas, they congest it because now they've had a fullback invert. Zinchenko, sometimes can Declan Rice, Thomas Partey, Odegaard. Then even the striker can drop. Then they keep the width. So it's more like a 3-2-5 structure. Sometimes it becomes a 2-3-5 structure, pushing up. So almost every zone of the pitch, from defense to attack, they are well represented and they are well occupied, which is very important. And that is the base of Arsenal's way of play. Essentially, in recent times, it has been very difficult for Chelsea to go and play at Arsenal, whether at the Stamford Bridge or whether at the Emirates. It is a tall order. But Chelsea fans seem to be very confident. And there is concrete reason why Chelsea fans are very confident. And it is because Chelsea is the best matched up team against Arsenal. It is Chelsea. If there is any team in the English Premier League now that is well matched up against them, especially with their wingers, it is Chelsea. Now, again, if you look at the data that has been brought out, especially if you look at, see where Chelsea should have been with expected goals, comparing last season to this season, it shows clear progress for the team. There is clear progress for Chelsea Football Club as it stands now. Also, Chelsea's Conor Gallagher, Axel Disasi, Thiago Silva, and Levi Cole have been some of the most dominant players in terms of ball receiving, dual ones, and interceptions, and all of those things. They've been some of the best. And data again shows to that. And there's another game that is going to be hugely physical. Because Arsenal are also physical monsters in William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes. Gabriel Magalhaes is a super physical player. Then you have, say, Benjamin White, not so physical, but then, yes, also very combative at some point in time. In the middle, you have Declan Rice, very physical, very aggressive sometimes. Maybe you can add a Thomas Partey, but Chelsea also has Moise Caicedo, very aggressive, very physical. You have Thiago Silva, Levi Cole, Axel Disasi. Now, the problem is that at Chelsea's back, there is less of pace in Thiago Silva and Levi Cole. So Chelsea would have to find ways, Mauricio Pochettino to find a way to augment the lack of pace that they have, especially if they are coming out in transitions against Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka if he is fit. But essentially, if they are supposed to defend against Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, Axel Disasi is up to the task in 1v1 against Gabriel Martinelli, right? Regimes is also a physical monster if he's playing. So the game is actually very balanced. Before we even get into the proper tactical analysis, the game is balanced, right? And it's a game where that can be has a major implication on on either of the team's season. On the part of Arsenal, they want to continue the winning streak. They beat Man City the last time out. It's a big thing for them. The win was taking off the sails when they went for the international break. It's a chance again for them to come and do that job again. You understand? And on the part of Chelsea, they've been getting consistent wins in recent times. They need to back it up. Against Fulham, against Burnley, against Brighton and Hove Albion. Those are relatively small boys. Now, you said you are getting things right. You come against Arsenal, you show your worth. Even if you're not winning, you show why you're a proper team, why you say you're progressing. It is very imperative on everything that Chelsea does on the game on Saturday or tomorrow. So that's the level of the game in terms of concentration levels. And I think the parts of the game that are going to be deciding factors, first of all, we'll look at the various presses of both teams. We'll look at build-up of both teams. We'll look at chance creation of both teams. We'll also look at some of the things that these two teams do bring. Understand? And it's very, very imperative that we look at all of these things: the chance creation, the press, the build-up of the team, the key battle areas, and then we'll enter into the final, where I think the game will go. So let's start with Chelsea. Under Mauricio Pochettino this season, Chelsea have had some mixed form of build-up. Sometimes it is 3 at the back, then 2 central areas to progress. In fact, in recent times, Chelsea have begun to understand that Moise Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez are the best. So, all that times also, it has become more like a 4-2-4, where Chelsea have 4 of the flat fullbacks, 4 of the flat defenders at the back. Especially when Marc Cucurella is playing, because it's also very good in terms of progression from the first phase. Marc Cucurella, Desasi, Thiago Silva, Levi Colwill, then you have Moise Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. Now, in a game against Arsenal like this, you would be very, very, very detailed in your preparation, especially in terms of angles and then zones where players are supposed to be. This is a game where sometimes I've seen Enzo Fernandez on the right-hand side. It's not the best. Enzo is supposed to be on the left-hand side. It affords him much more angles to receive the ball and then push forward. Also, what this does is that it also gives Conor Gallagher a lot of time on the right-hand side to crash the box. It's very, very important in build-up. You understand? So, Chelsea, essentially in this build-up, sometimes will change to a 4-1 when the team is in a deep block or a low block at the back. Arsenal definitely are not going to be in. Yes, there are going to be moments like that, but essentially, you can't see Arsenal are going to be in a deep block in that regard. Now, these are generally Chelsea's pressing scheme. Essentially, also, once they're able to get past the first phase, Chelsea do combine a lot from wide areas. So you see that a lot of combination play, and then Chelsea will try to overload those wide areas. They did it very, very perfect when Reece James was fit and played against Liverpool. Consistent overloads on the right. Consistent overloads on the right. And most of Chelsea's attacks went through the right when Reece James was fit. Now, it's going to be important. The physical specimen of Reece James. The physicality that's going to be important for him. Bumping down the fullback, those lines up and down the pitch. Very, very important for him. If Malo Gusto is starting, I don't have a problem because he is necessarily not a physical specimen, but good in terms of defending 1v1 and doing those jobs as overlapping and unlapping. He is brilliant at it. So that's exactly what Chelsea want to do. Without the ball, they're a little bit more fluid. Chelsea can go into a settled with the ball structure in attack and say a 3-1-6. It is very, very fluid. Very fluid in the sense that Pochettino doesn't restrict these players into zones. Some of the top teams, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, do restrict their players into those zones where, yes, you can be fluid, but certain zones are zones you're supposed to be in. Chelsea allows a lot of fluidity in there, and the dynamism is also in there. It is because they are just starting. With time, you realize that Mauricio Pochettino want to polish this into a very good one. Now, it is in this 3-1-6 structure that Chelsea are going to play against our national team. Now, most likely, have a fullback already inverted, especially in transitions. Now, if Chelsea are overloading those sides, how are inverted fullbacks going to work? Very, very important. Even before we talk about that, I think the biggest part of this game is going to go down to press. The pressing. I've told you about how Arsenal plays, told you about how Chelsea builds up, but the press is very important. Now, earlier this season, Chelsea's press was a little bit disjoint. Sometimes Chelsea waits till the ball goes out right before they start pressing. And if immediately we talk about press, it means that Nicolas Jackson has to start because he's the best presser of the ball. He also aggressive enough to win a lot of those first balls in transition. Very, very important. Now, if Nicholas Jackson is starting, then it means that Chelsea will have an optimal man to lead the press together with Conor Gallagher. Because Chelsea's press most of the times have become a 4-4-1-1. You understand? When it's a 4-4-1-1, it means that you usually have the striker and then Conor Gallagher behind them to start the press. The most important part of this press is that Chelsea would have to make sure that if they go 1v1 or they press in this 4-4-1-1 shape, one of the things they need to do is that Cole Palmer particularly has a big job to do in terms of his body orientation to aggressively block passing lanes and then also to make sure that he's covering the ball carrier. It's important because if you don't do this, then there's always going to be one spare man. If there's a spare man, then you're in trouble against Arsenal. They play through you, it goes out wide, take you on 1v1. They can control a lot of those chaotic parts of the game because, yes, they've been there before, they've seen it, they know exactly how those job is done, and you would want to be in there 100%, else you're in trouble. So these are the things that Chelsea will have to do. That's Cole Palmer body shifts like he did against Fulham. It's very, very important in a game like this. Very, very important. You don't want to allow Arsenal play through you easily. You want to make it very difficult for them. Now, I'm thinking that Arsenal, when Inter they play against teams that progress the ball in a 4-2-4, they go into a press structure with that 3-2-5. But essentially, it's more like a man-for-man press. And I think that's what Arsenal are going to do. Hugely man-for-man. Making sure that they go man, every man in there, very aggressive. Now, that is going to be the banana peel against Arsenal, because if you go man for man and you're being very aggressive, you need to be very careful because Chelsea also has physical specimen. Robert Sanchez is good with his feet and going long as well. You have seen Nicholas Jackson, regardless of the fact that he's not the well-built player, he's able to receive those first balls, and then Caicedo and Enzo can pick up those pieces around him. The most important player in this game, in terms of the aggression and then the chaotic part of the game on the part of Chelsea, will be Conor Gallagher. If Conor has a good game, Arsenal are in trouble. If Conor has a good game, Arsenal are in trouble, because that's exactly how the game is going to go when Arsenal go 1v1. But essentially, Arsenal's press is usually impeccable. You saw it against Manchester City. It's impeccable. Only a few teams are able to stand Arsenal's press, and Chelsea have the traits to do that. They've not played this current Arsenal before. Arteta hasn't played Mauricio Pochettino before, and all of that. But Chelsea has the quality in terms of players to be able to stand this Arsenal press. If they are going to be able to stand this Arsenal press, then they need to make sure that at the end of the day, they are in it. They are there. It's going to be a difficult one. Trust me, that the press is going to be the one. But essentially, the back and forth is that Arsenal have the chance, they have the optimal preparation ground, they have the players, they have everything. Mikel Arteta has everything to give Chelsea a difficult game and to go back to the bridge again and get favorable results. But on the part of Chelsea also, they have everything to distort everything that Arsenal are doing. So it's also good for them, very, very good for them on the part of Chelsea and Arsenal. So any coach that gives his team optimal stuff in preparation definitely is going to win this. I think that the in-game intelligence and the cognitive ability of these players will also be very, very important. Very, very important. And that's why I think Chelsea may slightly edge Arsenal, actually. Slightly. But yeah, all too soon, the head of this one. It's a big one on Saturday. Trust me. I'll watch with open eyes, find some good food to eat and enjoy. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'm grateful. Consistently, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. For all the support. Please do all to subscribe and turn on the notification button. Do choose all. My name still remains Fiifi-Manfred. I am grateful to have you here. Take good care of yourself.